Hey team, hope you're all doing well. Today's topic, I wanted to go over a topic and question I was recently asked, and that is should you race parkrun every week? I don't personally believe you really need to be racing every single weekend to start improving your fitness. I think you can do that for a while, but I do believe that if you get into a weekly approach of trying to run fast or trying to set a new personal best over, say, 5K to 10K every single weekend, that's going to be very difficult for any athlete to continue to improve because there's so many ebbs and flows when it comes to preparing for races. I think you have to have, like I always say, you have to think long term. Don't think so. It's good to have short term goals, but also make sure that you have long term goals, and especially goals when it comes to running faster over middle to long distance running distances. You have to make sure that you're allotting sufficient time for your body to adapt to the hard training that you're doing. So I do think park runs, doing 5Ks or maybe 10Ks, every weekend where you live at is and can be very beneficial in terms of keeping yourself motivated. But also at the same time, you could always just implement doing some track workouts or road efforts, maybe tempo runs, or maybe even some time trials throughout your weekly build-ups in the place of doing an all-out 5K. Now, I think sometimes in terms of park runs, being out there with other competitors and people that are faster than you, that is definitely a huge benefit because, again, you're getting out of your comfort zone, you're getting pushed. But I also think there's a strategic tactic in training by yourself and really pushing yourself. That way, when it does come time to race and you've tapered down correctly, during you've done a longer buildup, you've given yourself enough time, you haven't really rushed your fitness, but you've given yourself plenty of preparation time and you've started to taper down. You've done a 10-day taper, really backed off your volume, started to rest and allow your body to heal. That is the time, I think, when you're really going to go in and really run a huge personal best. It's one thing to go out and PR for maybe like 2 or 3 seconds, but to go out and drop like an hour off your marathon time, or maybe like 5 minutes off of your half marathon time, or 45 seconds to a minute off your 10K time, those types of big jumps in performance definitely will take a little bit longer and will take a more strategic setup in terms of how you're preparing for your races. But if you want those smaller personal best and getting out there and improving a little bit, I do think that doing park runs maybe every other week or maybe once per month is a good idea rather than doing that every single weekend, because I was recently asked that same question. Should you race parkrun every week? Should I be doing workouts every single weekend? I got a question from Isaac. He was the one that asked, and he said, I have another question. Do you think there's a big benefit from not racing every week? Nowadays with parkrun every Saturday, it is easy to push hard every single week, but I'm considering changing from racing 5K every weekend to alternating between an all-out park run one week and a tempo park run the following week. Yeah, I think that's a good strategic plan. I think that not going all out every single weekend, but maybe implementing a moderate effort one weekend, doing maybe a tempo run either via a park run or just on your own, or maybe with a group is a great plan of attack, because you're not going to just go out and set new personal best every single weekend that you run. And I do think that mixing up either participating in park runs and getting out there with some other athletes that are better than you, I think is a good plan. But just don't try to go out and set a new personal best every single weekend, because it doesn't always work that way. I wish it was like that. But there's times where you're just going to perform piss poor in workouts. You're going to have phenomenal workouts. You're going to have great races out there, but you're going to have some races and workouts that really make you question your ability and wondering if you're doing everything properly. So I think, again, a longer buildup is key, especially in the longer distances. Minimum of 16 weeks, preferably 20 to 24 weeks is optimal. You have plenty of time. It takes 3 to 4 weeks for your body to adapt to the stresses you're placing on it. You're not going to adapt to doing, say, 630-mile repetitions on the track in a matter of a few days. It's going to take several weeks to adapt to just one intensity. So if, say, your personal best for the mile. If it was like 420, you would start off around 85%, doing mile repeats on the track at 85%, which might come out to around 505. Then start, after 3 to 4 weeks of doing that, then work down to around 90% or 88%, which is I think that's around 455. So you again, thinking long term and not placing so much stress on yourself in doing these races and expecting to set new personal best every single weekend, I think is good for you mentally. It will allot sufficient time for your body to physiologically adapt to the hard training that you're doing. But also it will keep your motivation high because you're not just trying to go and set new personal best every single week that you run. But I do think that going out there and competing in these park runs against other athletes, especially athletes that are even better than you, will really help your motivation. But I always, over the years, I always liked training by myself because I always felt like if I could push myself hard, if I could really get in great shape and really do some really strong anaerobic workouts by myself, then when I went out there and I competed against other athletes that were better than me, then I could really determine if the hard anaerobic workouts I was doing on the track or not on the roads, or if the way I was setting up my training or the volume, everything that I was doing, once I started to taper down, then I could really determine if I had done things correctly. So I hope this answers the question, of should you do park runs every week. I do think it's a good plan of attack in terms of keeping your motivation high to do a park run maybe every other weekend or maybe once per month, and then in the middle of the races, run a couple time trials on your own. Maybe do, like I said, some moderate tempo runs. Definitely you want to have one VO2 max workout per week, one tempo run per week, and one long run per week. Okay, and that's going to vary in distance and duration for each athlete. If you're training for a 5K, you don't need to be going out doing 30-kilometer long runs for a 5K. Okay, but if you're training for maybe a 10K out to the marathon distance, yes, you definitely want to go work your way up to that 30K, 35K, even up to around 40 kilometers in distance. But again, make sure that you're not rushing your fitness too early and trying to place too much stress on yourself, because there is, that you will plateau and there is a point where you can only improve so much. But if you're allotting some recovery weeks in your training build up, you're pushing yourself, but you're also dropping down your volume a little bit and allowing yourself to recover from the hard training you're doing, and you're following all the other fundamentals we cover in these videos, you're going to set yourself up for success. So I hope this answers your question regarding park runs. If there's any other things on your mind, any other questions or concerns that you have regarding your training or racing, definitely feel free to reach out to me anytime. Leave me a comment. I'll definitely reach back out and respond back to you. And also leave a comment below if you have any particular topics you'd like me to cover in my upcoming videos. Definitely check out the resources below all of my videos as well, and on RunDreamAchieve.com. And I wish you all the best, and I'll talk to you all in the next one.